Hey everyone, it's Miss K, founder and owner of K's Little Einstein Academy, aka K's Academy. I'm just quite excited because this is my first male panel. I have been spreading the word, and so has my panelists been spreading the word about this panel discussion today, and it's titled "The Male Perspective." Let's talk about it. So I have three panelists. One of them is running late, so you will see him pop in eventually. So I will let Mr. Mitchell go first, and then we'll have Mr. CJ just introduce themselves, tell them a little bit about each other, and then we'll go into the questions. Go right ahead.
So I guess I'm first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my name is Jeff Mitchell. I am a husband. I am a father of four. So we have a couple teenagers and then a couple little ones. And I am in ministry. I also run a company that does educational consulting. And I love men. I love helping men grow. I love helping men be better. I love helping men be better husbands, better fathers, which is something that a group that I run and help them be better. And just love everything about us growing and helping our families being better. So that's kind of a little bit about who I am. And I'm sure as we talk today, I'll be able to talk a little more about who I am, what I do, and give a little more about the male perspective. Excited to be here. Thank you, and honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. And next is Mr. CJ.
Hey everybody, how you doing? CJ Davidson from Miami, Florida. I'm a husband, a father of one 4-year old. I'm also the co-founder of Future Black Man. We're trying to help change the perspective, the way that the world views black men. Pretty much new to the scene trying to do this, but we just got to get out there and get it done. So.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have both of you on here today. The reason why I brought it up is because I also have a son, and I feel like it's important to talk about the male perspective. There's a lot of taboos. There's a lot of things that are swept under the rug or just not talked about in general. And I think it's very important and crucial that we have our next panelist. Let's add him in here. Hi, Mr. Patrick. So
Hello.
we had just did introductions, and since you are here, we'll just introduce you, and then we'll go into our questions.
Okay.
So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Patrick. I'm the owner and founder of Hawkins Learning. Sorry, guys. I just got done with the picnic. So that's pretty cool. I've been teaching for 13 years. I currently teach special ed in Clayton County in Atlanta, Georgia. That's it. I mean, I love doing what I do. I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
No worries, no worries. And so, as I was saying, I think it's very important to have the male perspective. I feel it's detrimental that males keen in and talk to young men, young sons, cousins, brothers, whomever it is, and tell them, "Hey, I got your back. I'm here for you." Because of the dynamics, a lot of societal innuendos, it breaks it down. And since this is not my area, I'm a female, I want the males to keen in on it. So I have some questions that I had pitched to them before, and I will let them put their piece in there. So the first question I have, and don't be afraid to answer, guys, okay? I know. What are the 3 top values to teach about becoming a man? What are some things, the top 3 that you can come onto your head, the top of your head, that you think is important to teach to young men or your sons?
One, definitely compassion.
Compassion. All right. Anything else?
Trust.
That's a good one.
Trust is a big one.
Okay.
That's a big one.
And another one is I don't think you can teach them like that, but you can teach them how to be less prideful, and it's okay to ask for help when you need help. Instead of going through that struggle, even though the struggle is meant to be you don't have to go through it alone, and it's okay not to
Uh-huh.
be so prideful to go through that struggle. And I had to learn that as a young man growing up, because I was always taught, don't ask for help, you can do it yourself. My family grew up very prideful, and I had to learn it's not all about pride. It's all about asking for that help, because that is true courage if you can actually ask for help when you need actual help.
Yes, yes.
That's
I think
good.
that's very important. Yeah, but I think that's a very deeply rooted thing, because I feel that back in slavery, they had to be like, I have to be manly, take care of family, and then that's it. Like we shouldn't be showing any emotions, and I think that kind of stemmed down to generations, and now it's like, okay, I don't need the extra help. So I think it's slowly changing. I'm seeing it changing. Do you guys see it changing? I feel like it's changing. I feel like we're
Yes,
slowly
I see
Yeah.
it.
talking more about it, especially in the Black community. Do you want to add anything, Mr. Mitchell?
Yeah, I was gonna say I do see it changing when it comes to help. I think one of the things that we are coming into and that we are seeing now, and many of us are talking about, especially I know these guys that are on this channel with me, both CJ and Patrick. Mentorship is big. You can't
Mhm.
continue to move forward and grow without having a mentors in different areas. It's one of the ways I kind of
Mhm.
talk to guys about that. So definitely we need help, but I will say the kind of the stigma is coming off of that now, as far as getting help and making sure you have mentorship, and even things like going to counseling and mental health and those kinds of things. We have trauma too. We have a lot of trauma, right? And we need help with
Yes,
that.
we
So
do.
I see that stigma coming off. But I guess I'll add to those three things is one of the things I've seen, and I think I even dealt with it myself as I continue to grow my career and my family,
Mhm.
is the kind of fear of failure.
Mm.
As Black men, we have been kind of um, made to feel like when we fail that there's a problem, that we are not worth what's happening in our lives and those kinds of things. So it makes us
Mhm.
scared to then try. So then we have a group of men who kind of are just stuck at status quo, not reaching for more, because when they fail, they feel like it makes them look like they're not good enough, or that they are just a regular old dude sitting on the corner in the hood, which is no
Yeah,
nothing
like
wrong with
no
that. We all
room. Yeah, yeah.
but the only way to grow and to get better and to achieve more is to try. And we got to break ourselves
Yes.
out of the fear of failure so that we can try to get to that next place. So, because think about it, if we don't grow and get to a place where we have more, how can we give back? How can we
Yes.
help others come up if we're not pushing for more? So we just kind of
Mhm.
stay here and we never strive because of the fear of failure. Then we get kind of stuck. So I know in my life I've had to break out of that. I continue to break out of those places where I get to a certain place in
Mhm.
my career, my company gets to a certain place, and I'm like, okay, we're good here. But then the next I guess the next kind of struggle or the next level comes, and it's like playing a video game. And I'm like, well, no, I reached level 5. Level 5 is good enough.
Yeah.
But
We
level
can,
6,
we kind of
the
plateau a little
prize,
bit.
yeah,
Mhm.
right. The prize at level 6 is more. So I think that fear of failure is something we got to teach our kids to, hey, strive, push.
Can I
Definitely.
can I add to that with you,
Yeah, absolutely.
Mr. Nico? I get it, and I understand that you can't be fearful, but that thing is, you got to have people in around you that is going to motivate you and push you. And I
Absolutely.
tell all the young men that I teach, misery loves company.
It does.
If you're around
Absolutely.
Yeah.
miserable people, you're going to be miserable too, and you're going to be stagnant. So you
Yeah.
got to think about who you surround yourself with. So yes, being fearful of like change. You
Yeah.
can't be
That
fearful.
right team will help you win. It definitely will. You have the right team behind you, the right support.
I
Yeah.
had to tell everybody, like, I tell everybody, I tell the little
Yes.
boys, my college friends are my friends for life. I've known them since I graduated. Since I went to college in 2005, I've known them since
Mhm.
then, and they have stuck. Even though we don't live in the same state, we don't live in the same city, we still stick by each other's side. Now, those friends I had in high school and middle school, they're nowhere to be found because they weren't growing as I was growing.
That's
so
true.
you gotta do it.
I can relate to that. I have like the same like 5 or 6 friends since I was 11 years old. I'm 33 right now, so
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. You're gonna have those associates that you come across, and then you kind of all just kind of branch off, but you still got those same friends. Even when you don't talk to them, they come together when you need to. So
I totally agree. It's a growth mindset. It's really a growth mindset. There are friends who will be there for every season and every method, and there's those who, as you grow, you learn that they're not that in that chapter with you, and you have to understand. I had to learn the hard way. Like, not everybody will be my friend, and I'm always friendly, so I'm just like, I'm not meant to be friends with everyone, and I had to learn to say, okay.
So get this too, right? So you're talking about friends, but we also have to be cognizant of family too, right?
True.
So
Yeah, that's so true.
while the friends definitely, and we can cultivate our own friend groups and those things that help us grow. One of the things we also have to remember too is that like our family, of course, we're born into that family. We're always going to be part of it. We always contribute to it. It's a part of who we are. Those kinds of things. But we also have to remember everybody a part of our family isn't cheering us on either. Like, and everybody part of your family also.
That is very true.
You have to be cognizant to know who is in your corner. That's in your corner specifically for you to push you to the next level, and then who is there kind of there was there was an old song. I think Jay-Z said it in an old song where he said they pray for my downfall. Right?
Yeah.
There are some people,
I remember that song.
and I'm not one of those that
he always,
I can this about it, but we do have to be cognizant that everybody's not there to push you up to the next level. So you know, and it's not just friends. You got to watch family too.
Yeah,
everybody's there for a certain reason, and you learn from that one person that you need to learn from, and you can let them go.
Yeah, well, you know, like they say, is that the people that you think will support you won't support you until a stranger does it, because then it turns into, oh, you know, that's my cousin, or yeah, that's my classmate, or that's my coworker, you know. So yeah, definitely.
I told a lot. Like, I used to mentor this young man he used to live with me, because he got kicked out of his house, and I told him, I said, if you know me, I don't have a lot of people around. And if you know who my people are around me, you see what they are. They're pushing themselves, or I'm pushing them to strive to be the better person. So you gotta. It's a struggle, but you gotta be there with everybody.
Yes. So another question I like to pitch is: as a father or male figure, what are a few values you should instill in a boy or young man to treat women?
Say that again. Repeat that. The whole thing.
Okay. As a father or male figure, what are a few values you should instill in a boy or young man to treat women?
Love. Like true love, like actual love, like true, like I've been through my whole like little spiritual journey since I've been on lockdown, and I've been connecting one with my little higher power that I love to connect with, and I talk to for an hour today. I'm gonna just be very candid with y'all. I don't know. I just like it really. It's just the person I am, and love and true love. If you know what love and true love is, and you love women, men the same way, however, like what true love truly is, you'll be able to do a lot of things in life. And that's one thing that a lot of young men that I teach, because I teach middle school and I taught elementary school, and I don't see a lot of male figures in their life. And until they meet me and they see what actual love looks like, they have no idea how to treat anybody. They are mimicking what they see.
Yeah. I guess you would say that's unconditional love, that love that has no bounds, that it's knowing that you can love, to learn to love yourself, actually having that self-love. And if they don't know what that self-love is, how can they be able to love anyone else? And I think that's important for them to learn how to love themselves.
Definitely.
And then they can expound on family members, friends, colleagues, because it branches out. It's a whole community, right?
But you gotta
And
teach.
if
You
they
gotta
don't know
teach them
that,
how to
then
love,
how they gonna-
and you have to teach them how to love, because as a male, you're not taught how to love. You're taught how to go to work, provide. That's what we're taught. No lie. Like I taught preschool, and what the little girls gravitate towards was taking care of home, being family. What the guys always did, we played truck.
Work.
We were doing this. We never knew how
Power
to
Rangers. Yep.
take care of
Yeah.
something. And that's all we've been taught. We've never been taught how to do any of that. And so we do miss a lot of values growing up, because as men of color, we know we get looked at a certain way, and we know we are striving for a certain way we want people to look at us. And so we have to keep pushing that. But if we miss a lot of stuff trying to do all that. We miss a lot of stuff trying to do all that. Like connections, actual connections with people. We miss that because we're always trying to be better than. Like I always told my dad, I want to be better than you. And how I ever been better than you, that's how I chose to be better with him, with how I treat people, how I work, how I do this. And he always taught me, be better than me. Always strive to be better than me, and teach your kids how to be better than you.
Yeah. Same.
And that strive for greatness in a person.
Yes.
Sorry,
Anybody wants to add on to that?
I'm on a little high from I had a little picnic in the park today, like a back to school like storytelling event, because I've been doing storytelling over the summertime, and I just did my last one I'm like up here, so I'm a
You
little
in the
excited.
zone. You in the zone, man.
Hey, do that. Can I add this? So one of the things you said, Patrick, you talked about true love and real love. It's true. As men, an issue that we have is what we know of love is providing, like you said, right? We provide, and that's how we show love. Especially you go back into the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. Men, if a woman was like, "Oh, you don't love me," and he'd be like, "Well, didn't you eat? Don't you have a roof above your head? Don't you got that clothes? Like, what do you mean I don't love you? Like all this stuff that you have, I've done. I did it. I love you. That's what love is. But we don't understand that love is not seen the same way for everybody, right? So no, we know about the book of the 5 love languages and those kind of things. The love languages are different. But I'll say this also. Sometimes we don't understand what love is because we don't know the actual definitions. We don't get to see what love actually is. And I believe if we look at what it says in 1 Corinthians, we'll actually see what love is, right? It outlines specifically the actions, right? Love is action. You can say that you love, but love is an action, and all those different actions are right there in 1 Corinthians. And if we look at that and we try to follow it, yeah, it might look tough, but that's love. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is long suffering. love is all of those things. That's what love is. And when you really dive into that, look, like I told you guys, I've been married 16 years. 16 years. I have 4 children. And over this time, man, you talk about love and understanding love in different stages and phases, and how when at this point, the kind of love I need to give my wife and my children is a love that's more patient than a love that's more eager. I mean, all of those things, man, understanding love in a way for your wife and your children, man, that is big. And many men go into, especially family, and what we know of love is, hey, look, man, I'm gonna go make this money, I'm gonna provide, and look, now you know
got
love.
it. You got it. You good? I'm good.
Exactly. Anything you want to add, CJ?
I would say treat the woman with the same respect that you would like to receive.
True.
Because one thing I noticed is, like, as far as like something like cheating. So a man will be out in the streets, doing his thing, and then if his woman's doing the same thing, he would be upset. So in my sense, like, just show that same respect. Present yourself in the streets the same way that you would want your wife or your girlfriend to present themselves in the street.
That's key. I feel like there's this hidden forward to that. Oh, go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
Oh no, I don't want to dominate, but I want to add.
No, go ahead. Add on. Remember, we were talking about help, right? Go on.
So, leadership. As a man, we have to lead. The problem is we see leadership sometimes as dogmatic and bombastic, right? Leadership means that I lead with some sort of iron fist or or some sort of big stick, or what I say goes. Like that's the mindset of what leadership is, and that's really not what leadership has to be or is. Really, as a man, we have to lead our families. We have to lead our wives. We have to lead our children. Our children. We have to lead. But the first part of leading, I believe, is something CJ said earlier. Is compassion. We lead through compassion. We lead through compassion at all times. If we lead through compassion at all times, then we can lead our families in a way that's not dogmatic. That's not do as I say. That's not bombastic. It's a leadership that becomes more about watch me, right? Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ. Follow me as I follow, right? So watch what I'm doing. If you watch what I'm doing and that it matches what I say, and through this compassion, well, then it's much easier for me to lead. It's much easier for people to follow. But many times we want to lead by do as I say, but our actions don't follow. And not only that, it's not compassion. It's not really compassion.
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate with this.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's strong iron fist, yes. But what if we're not taught that? We're not taught that, because guess who led with an iron fist? Our fathers. So we're gonna mimic what he does.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to rewrite. Like once you become an adult, it takes a lot to rewire your brain to forget what you've been taught as a child, and that's a lot. And you being who you are, Mr. Mitchell. Like I don't know if I can call you Jeffrey. I mean,
yeah, fine, brother.
Okay, cool.
My
Jeffrey,
mama Jeffrey, man. Call me Jeffrey.
Yeah,
I'm good.
That's fine. I tell everybody my name is Patrick, or you can call me Hawk. Like my dad is big, like Patrick, Big Patrick. That's him. But the whole thing, you're a man of faith, man of the word and God. And I think that's one thing that we're also missing, especially in the Black household as a whole. Everybody collectively going to church and listening to, and my spiritual journey led me to this show that I found called The Chosen. It's like Jesus' guide, his spiritual journey of getting his disciples and all of this. And that's been like, I think I watch it faithfully every day. And it's one of these things, like I had to like sit there and listen to it, and I put it together. And I was like, I've never been like the person that, the Bible. It's a platform for your life. It's a guide to life. And when I sit there and I watch and I read and I listen, I'm like, this is a platform to my life. Like it's 2021, and I can still use something written so long ago to live life by. And it's so weird that it can fit in every aspect because they don't put a time on anything. Yes. And that's what we're also missing, is that compassion, that love, and that one that is going to love you forever. God is going to love you forever. If you forget that, like, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, that was like more of a mic drop for everybody.
sorry. But yeah, like that's one thing that's been my little search, like trying to figure out, why does this book exist? Who really wrote this book? Why is this book written? And why should I follow this book? And I understand why I should follow this book. And it will lead you on a path of loving everybody, your wife, your kids, the world, people. Like sorry, I'm on a little tangent.
Even though you don't understand it. Even though that we're in this I guess in this political space right now where everybody's at odds with each other, right? We're at odds with each other. But if you are grounded in what you're talking about, Patrick, if you are grounded, you can, even in that kind of issue and that the hurts that's happening, you can find love for those that you don't understand. And I mean, there's so much of it now where if you watch the news at any point, you think to yourself, how do people not see this? This is crazy. Like, but you still find a place of compassion in your heart where you're like, man, I just pray. I love them anyway, and we'll get there. I know we'll get there. Yeah, that's good, Patrick.
I sat and talked to God for an hour today, and He told me everything I needed to do, and it was kind of awesome. Never thought I could get that way, but hey, it was kind of awesome. So listen, that's why I tell young men, listen to God. You may not believe in Him, and it's a lot of people that don't believe in a higher power, or people do believe in higher power, but give them different names. But it's only one person that covers all of those bases. It's just everybody give them a different name, and everybody want to fight for that person for that name. But we all represent the same person.
Yeah, we all
fight for.
All right. So my next question is, I'm trying to get some deep, real questions here. How do you think? Wait 1 second. What are some suggestions of values or morals to raise a young man by? It kind of stems off of other questions that we've asked, but what, like, one thing that you say you should be raised by? One moral thing or value?
Treat everybody with compassion. That's it. Treat everybody with compassion. Why not?
All right.
Everybody deserves love. Everybody deserves compassion and love, no matter who you are.
Okay. So my next thing is, what is one thing you would like to change from your upbringing and instill in the future men in your household or future household?
This is good. So this is good. I want to say this. Patrick kind of brought it up. Right? Patrick said, well, how do we learn this stuff if we don't have people to teach us? Because we learn from the people before us. So what I have become as a man and what I have learned comes from a lot of different men. There are some things, while my father is my father, he's in my life. We didn't have such a great relationship with me growing up. Him and my mother got divorced. There's some things happening in our life early on that were not good. My father was always a great father. But I have a group of men who I call my fathers, who taught me different things that I was able to see that I wanted to be a part of my life, that I used to father me. From my grandfather to my godfather and those things. And I decided that I wouldn't be, and not to my dad, me and my dad, we were growing our relationship. We've gotten to a good place, but I didn't want to be him. I wanted to be better, much better. And not only did I want to be much better, I want to be much better also for my sons, for my children, because I want them to then take from what I've done, see my good, throw out my bad, and be even better. Right. So I think, one of the things that we all should kind of instill is growing that generation up and helping them all be better in a way where, we don't continue to have this kind of society where, there are little boys and little girls that are being raised without fathers. The one of the things that hurt my heart the most is when men abdicate their responsibility for their children. And I get it. Sometimes women make it hard. I will never not say that. I've seen it with my own eyes, how women can make it hard. But a father, and not again, I don't know every situation, but a father that's really trying to father their children is going to do everything in their possibility to be in their lives. Everything in their possibility to raise their children and know that is their responsibility. Even if you did it in a way that wasn't as optimal as it should have been. It's your responsibility, and children shouldn't have to suffer because of something you did that wasn't as optimal. They should still be able to have what they are what they are entitled, which is both their mother and their father in their lives raising them. So off my soapbox.
All right, CJ, I'm bringing you in. You're a father of one.
One thing, like, yeah, I'm a father of one. Growing up, one thing I would change, and this is like, it goes back to what we were saying about being, a black man. There's no room for mistakes. Growing up, like when certain situations happen, I always had to wear like that suit of armor. Just kind of like take those hits and keep on going and get things handled. Sometimes, you would take those hits and then get the chink in your armor and fix the situation and then just move on and never even discuss what happened. So in turn, that ends up, mentally kind of messing with you later in life a little bit, So in my son, I like to let him know that, okay, you put on a suit of armor, you take your chinks, but it's okay to display your feelings and talk it out too.
Yes.
And keep moving. Just don't hold that stuff in, because I feel like there's a lot of people in the world who does that, and they just hold stuff in, and then now, bam, things just keep blowing up everywhere.
Yes. I think emotional expression is a difficult topic, especially in the Black community. It's just like, hold everything in, because you're the man, so you need to get it right and continue it. And for me, I can personally say, like, I have my dad, I have a brother, and it's only until I had my son that I was like, he needs to be able to know that he can talk about it, express it, and it's okay to cry, be mad, be upset, but it's the way you approach the situation, how you handle the situation is how we're going to be able to say, all right, I understand that you're upset, but why were you upset? What caused you to be upset? Just have a proper dialogue with him to say, all right, okay, you can be upset. You don't bottle it in. It's not going to help you, because then it turns into these young men going out in the streets fighting, and they don't understand why. Most times they don't get it. It's like, all right, I got my crew. Let's go.
I say this. You guys are teaching. I don't have any children. I teach children. Don't have me. One day I will have my own. But as a teacher and sitting in the classroom, I teach special ed. So I like sit in the classrooms with the general ed teacher and like listen how they speak to some of the boys in the classroom. And it's like, they're so tough on them. Like, don't show your emotions. Don't cry. What are you crying for? Because they're sad or something hurt them. Like, they're upset. Like, just pull them to the side. I have to sit back and bite my tongue so much, because it's not the parents that are like sometimes telling their kids not to be tough and don't show emotions. Sometimes it's the teachers and it's
everyone else too.
That everybody else in the background has said, toughen up. What you crying for? Then they go to the basketball court. Toughen up. What you crying for? You hurt me. Like, I'm a little upset. I'm a little teary-eyed. It's okay, but we're going to keep going back at it. Let me handle my emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I have learned how to be a different teacher, where I don't care. Like, we're going to stop. Like, I used to stop my whole class one day and say, y'all arguing and crying and fighting. Like, we're not going to learn anything. So what we learning for? Like, let's stop and let's talk about it. So we sat there and talked for a whole hour, and we got so much accomplished the next day, just because they wanted somebody to talk to. That's it. They want somebody to talk to feel their emotions. Can you be a little bit compassionate? Like, show me some compassion, some sympathy, something. Like, something. That's all children want, but we forget that boys are still children when they're teenagers. Right. And I had to learn that, like, y'all are still kids.
There's the generation of men before us, and before them taught us that manhood was absent emotion, right? Being a man was absent emotion. Like, you can't be emotional and be a man. And I think where I can understand the idea of where that comes from, it's misguided. So what I say, and I say this, we have to be in touch with our emotions. We have to understand them. We have to be able to talk about them. We have to know what's happening, but we have to use our emotions as guideposts whereas we can't let our emotions guide us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where, for me, with men, if you become a man that's emotional, where your emotions guide you, where they lead you, that's a problem. That's a problem. And that not only is that a problem for men, it's a problem for anybody. Your emotions should not guide you. Our emotions are guideposts. They tell us how we feel, what's happening, and that we should manage it, that we should talk about it, that there's something that's supposed to happen because of that. But they should not guide us. And that's where I think where the men before us and the men before them were trying to stop the emotion because they didn't want the emotion to guide the boys. They wanted to say, no, you can't use that emotion. You got to be able to think clearly. But what they didn't understand is if I bottle all that up, I still can't think clearly. Like I bottle all that up. And then me and the boys gonna be in the street beating up the cats from across the street. Like that was happening. So I gotta be able, I gotta use those emotions as guideposts and not let them guide me.
Yes, I think this stems from understanding how to communicate. I feel like, and I feel both men and women, they're not understanding how to communicate their emotions, and therefore, like you said, the emotions are led. They are led by the emotions, and then he's like, okay, I don't know how to communicate my emotions. So where do I go from now? And with that, there's a whole lot of mental issues that come about. Some, whether it's PTSD, there's anxiety, all of these things. And I feel like this is where therapy should come into play. I think there's this taboo that, we don't need to go to therapy. We're crazy. That's what you continuously hear, like, why are you going to therapy? But in actuality, I think it helps to talk to someone that's a therapist to try to kind of gauge and understand and to weed through all these emotions, whether it's from family, from your significant other, from friends, from your job. And I feel like men don't have the ability. It's like, okay, well,
let me tell you why. For me, not having that ability comes from my mother, and I love my mother to death. Like I will go to the ends of the earth to my mother. But my mother used to tell me, I'll make sure I get this right because I don't want to quote her wrong. The reason why we don't go see therapists, I had to wait till my grandmother passed away 11 years ago to actually go see a therapist. And I needed to go see one when I was in high school and college. But my mom always told me, no one should know our business. So don't tell nobody our business. So now I got to bottle my business in. I can't tell nobody my business because my mama said, do not tell any outsider about our family business. It only dealt with the family, but the family does not want to deal with it because we're going to sweep it under the rug because it never happened. Now I'm going insane because now I have so much to say. That's why we can't go to therapists.
Yeah.
And therefore we explode. My mom used to tell me all the time, this business, the family business is our business. But my family's crazy and I need to go see somebody and talk about this. So I've learned to just tell my family how I feel right now. And I think they have enjoyed just me just being honest. Like if they hurt my feelings, they tell them, I'm going to tell them right then and there. Like, I don't like it. I'm going to hang up the phone. I don't want to talk to you today. It's just, I took control of my life. Just, I can't. They're at a certain point, your mother and father can't control what you do.
Absolutely.
You got to go out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You become adults. We become grown-ups. And I think that's
I have family members that don't treat their children like adults. Like you got to treat children like as they grow up. Like, okay, their maturity gets older. They're not going to be babies forever. You can't protect them forever. They got to fall and get hurt. The struggle is real.
Absolutely. The conversations that I have the conversations that I have with my 6-year-old can't be the same conversations I have with my 16-year-old.
No.
They can't. Those things can't be the same, right? There's a level of maturity as we grow that are different. When my 16-year-old is 26, the conversations that I'm having with my 26-year-old can't be the same as I have with my 16-year-old. Right? Those they all change. We all get to my, as a 40-year-old man, the conversations my mother had with me is not the conversation she had with me when I was 12. And we can't expect to have the relationship. What you say?
I said she'd still try to talk to you like you still like 12.
And then you be like, you got to be like, I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? You're always gonna be mom. I love you. You gonna whatever, and I know you always gonna do what mamas do. But I'm 40 years old. You know what I'm saying?
All young men to tell their moms that at least one time. Like, I'm an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I told my mom that. My mom didn't talk to me for a week because I told my mom I'm a grown man, and if you want to kick me out your house, I don't live here. I can leave. And I think that's when our relationship changed. And she's like, "Oh man, you are really true. Like, you're not 12 anymore. You're 34.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, true. I'm that old. Like, you can't do that anymore."
Yeah.
And I don't live at home. Now, if I lived at home, yes, I'll follow your rules. I can be a 30 living at home with my mom and my daddy and following y'all rules. I would hate it because I would have to follow y'all rules. That's y'all house. But I don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Conversations
it's learning about respect too.
Like, you can respect me, I can respect you. You can't say those bad words to me and don't expect me to retaliate in a way that I have, because we are both adults at this point. You can't chase me around the house no more.
Like, you wait for it. Like, my grandfather, he told me this funny story too. He told me he was like in his 30s, and his mama, he said something that was disrespectful, and she was like a little short lady, and he's a little taller, and she went because he's like, "What did you say to me?" And I was like, "But he's an adult, and he should be able to express himself." I think it's learning those boundaries too with parents. What were you gonna say, Mr. Mitchell?
I was saying that, I think parents at a certain place. I'm a parent, 4 kids, like I said, but I think we could get to a place as we mature that we think we're immune. Whereas, like Patrick was saying, is I'm a grown man. You say those bad words to me, stuff coming back to you. But we think because we're parents, we're immune. Like, that stuff doesn't get to come back. But what being a parent doesn't make you immune. It doesn't make you immune from, if you give it out, expect to get it back. You give it out, expect to get it back. That's the way it goes. So if you're not going to give out compassion, if you're not going to give out kindness, if you're not going to give that out, well, if you're going to give out rude and mean and curse and whatever, well, rude, mean, and curse coming back. And that don't change.
You gotta give out respect. Yeah, you gotta give out respect.
Give out what you want to get back, period. You give out what you want to get back.
But do they know, like, for young men, do they know what respect is? That's another thing. Do they understand what respect is for others, for themselves? What is that terminology of respect to them? And how do they dish it out to the parents? So they were like, okay, he's gonna be disrespectful, I'll be disrespectful, but do they even understand what respect is?
Teaching children, and I hate this. This is one thing that I hate as a teacher, that there is such a division between Mr. Jeffrey. You live in Atlanta, like, you live close to Atlanta, like, you understand the divide of, I live in at-risk area and I go to an at-risk school, and I live in an affluent area and I'm good. Respect is different in every way. Most parents that I teach at our at-risk schools don't respect their kids. Therefore, their kids don't respect them. They talk to each other any kind of way, fight each other, cuss each other out any kind of way. There's no respect. They don't know what respect is. And then you expect as a teacher, hey, I need the same respect that you want me to give you. I don't know how to respect you because I don't get respect at my house. So it comes from that mama and that daddy understanding what they want respect to look like in their home and what it should be. It's a give and take. Like, I respect you, you respect me. I'm not gonna curse you out. You're not gonna curse me out. We're not gonna fight each other. It's a child-parent relationship, but as we grow together. But respect is
Have
respect.
you
I
guys
can't ask
ever
for
been?
respect in the school. I can't ask for respect from kids that don't get it at home because I've seen it. So
Absolutely. I say this. I've been in you ever been in a grocery store and you see somebody with their kid and they're saying things to that kid in a way that you know, even you snap your neck back like, man, what is going on? Like you
Yeah.
want to go back
Yeah.
there and grab the parent like, hey, I don't know what little Billy did, but little Billy don't deserve that. Like I know he's 5. Little Billy don't deserve that. He don't deserve to get that. And like what you're saying, Patrick, is true. You know, little Billy gets that from his mom or his dad over and over and over and over again. So then when little Billy comes to Mr. Hawkins' classroom and Mr. Hawkins is talking to little Billy and being respectful or whatever, little Billy gonna give back what he knows. And what he knows is what his mama and daddy been giving him.
Yeah.
what?
That's what they've been giving him.
That's like that.
And
All
he
that.
give it back. And then we have I'm going on a tangent. One of the issues we have with education, is this. So there are people teaching these kids in education that don't know that this is the circle that these kids are in. So when these kids come and they give back what they're getting at home and they give it to those teachers want to send them to the office and want to write them up and want to get them kicked out of school and all that kind of stuff. And when you ask them about it, they say, oh, well, that kid should know better. How do you know that? How do you know that this kid should know better? How do you know? Did they wake up in your house? How do you know?
I don't know. I don't know if any of y'all like are educators, went to school for education or anything, but being a teacher and going to school for that, they don't teach you any of that. You have to learn that from day one when you get in your classroom by yourself with those kids. And if you don't learn that from day one and try to grow and change, you're done.
And there's so many people in the classroom that are that way. There are so many teachers, and in their mind, I'm here to teach you this math. I ain't here to teach you nothing else. All the rest of that, your culture and all the rest of your manners and honor and respect and all that stuff, that ain't a part of my curriculum. My curriculum is 1 + 1. If you're not gonna do 1 + 1, you're gonna give me issues. You're gonna have to get out of here, and then you in the pipeline. That's it.
And that stems right back to boys too, because I've seen a lot of boys that they have issues with sitting still, and kids are not meant to sit still, and it kind of put boys in this weird predicament. Okay, well, the teacher said to sit still, but I can't sit still, and I need to wait. And teachers are not knowing, like, okay, you give them something else to distract them while they're doing their work, so then they're able to behave in the way you want them to behave, and then it won't have all these issues. So now you're just dismissing them, suspending them, or expelling them just because they are not listening to you in the manner that you like.
Before they even get there, they're coming to the special ed department because now they have a behavior issue.
Yeah.
So now the behavior issue now becomes this thing like, oh, now they've been labeled a behavior problem, and that's when you get the prison pipeline kind of thing in schools. That's why I'm a teacher and I hate it.
At least you admit it. Okay,
I tell everybody, if you're going to be a teacher, you better love this because it's hard. It's really hard. I don't care about the pay. The pay is the pay. Like, we get paid what we get paid. It's the work that I put into it that I care about the most, and it's hard.
Yeah.
But no, I don't like the education system. If I could change the education system, I would change the entire system to fit everybody's individually capabilities.
Yeah. It's definitely
everybody. Flawed. I was telling, I guess I forgot who I was telling this to, but everybody's not meant to go off to college. Not everybody's meant to do anything. Like, hey, what path do you want to be on? Like, I was telling one of my friends, like, I was on a college prep track in high school. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go off to college for 4 years. Now, my other friends, they chose a technical path. They chose 2 years. They can get that in high school, or they can finish high school and get that in college. That's what track they chose. They chose their own track, and we forget about that. Not everybody's suited to go to, get in debt with a loan. And
yeah, that's what they try to design us to do, though. The whole thing is growing up. They're always Go ahead and
Why
get
you
that
gotta take
loan.
it back? How? I only make $15 an hour.
Sally Mae still knocking on people's door at 45 years old.
You owe us, man. I've been paying y'all since I was 21.
And listen, CJ, she don't stop coming.
No,
She don't stop coming. She gonna keep knocking on that door. She gonna keep coming to get what she expects that's supposed to come back to her. She does not stop coming.
Always.
And,
my oldest brother, he's a lawyer, so he went to law school and he had to rack up all these loans. And he's like, man, when I pay that loan, it's like paying a mortgage for a house I'll never see.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. There's certain subjects that we didn't talk about. For example, financial literacy. I feel like if we were given that, and I think we spoke about it in our own little meet and greet, that if we had that financial knowledge and education from before to add on to the factor of whether we go to college or a technical school, that bring us as a whole, as a society, into a better standpoint instead of having all these loans.
Oh,
I understand. I'm in that too.
Yeah, because I used to work for a credit union, and you would be surprised how many people would call in about their credit cards and not understand how the credit cards work. So you have a lot of people who apply and get approved for these credit cards, and they max them out the first month. I literally had one person tell me they maxed out their credit card for $1,000, for example. And she was like, so if I pay the minimum of $50, do I get the $1,000 back?
No.
And I'm not gonna, I had to mute my phone, and I'm thinking like, wow. And that's like the fifth person that day. And I was like, wow. So no, definitely, if they would have taught me about credit cards, middle school and high school,
Taught me about money. I wouldn't spend
man, exactly.
I got it, and I have a
They'll
spending
come to me fraudulent, like frugal at this point.
Yeah.
There is, I do, like on my Instagram, I follow this guy. He's actually writing a financial, it's called M is for Money. And he's writing a book about money words that kids don't know. So, and teaching kids about different types of money words that they need to know and how to, take care of your own. If I knew that, I would be a millionaire right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially for males, because they're the ones who are the providers, so to speak. Now they have this pressure of like, okay, I need to bring home the money, and sometimes they don't even understand the background to even bring in the money, how to even have like passive income or the residual, all these different literacy terms that I'm learning now and that I didn't really understand. Like all I kept hearing is you to save your money, and I was like, for what? What am I saving for? And now that I've got a little bit older, I'm just like, oh, well, then if you explain it in that terms, I could understand. But especially
remember earlier,
I was
Patrick
like,
was
if they don't
talking
understand.
about, earlier, Patrick was talking about, how we don't talk about, or we were told we don't talk about what's happening in our house, right? That's the same thing about money.
Yeah.
The generation before us didn't talk about money.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you about how much money they had, how they were keeping their money, what they were doing. They talk about money. I say all the time, man, my grandfather, who was one of the fathers who helped me, I mean, I would never be the man I am without him. But my grandfather was helping people in the neighborhood. He I never saw him have financial issues. He took care of his business. Like if people came to him, he did that kind of stuff. But my granddaddy never talked to me about money. Never. He never said, well, son, this is what I do. This is my retirement account. This is how I'm putting money away here. Never did that. My dad, to this day, from what I've always known and seen, is amazing with money, great with money. He never talked to me about money or his money. Matter of fact, he wants to make sure we don't even know that he has money. I mean, that's the thing. It's
we all got family members like that. Yeah. We all got that family member.
So I am now trying to break the cycle where my children, now of course I don't talk to them in depth about, my money, but I do talk about and help them see and even budget with them. And they actually are on the payroll of my company. And there's certain things that if they can do for us, they make some money and they get a check and that kind of stuff. And we talk about how it works and those kinds of things and what you should do.
Uh-huh.
My daughter right now is 14 and already keeping money and saving up money so she can buy a car when she's 16.
What?
Already,
I wish I
right?
did that.
And so she's already learned more than I learned back then, where I ended up doing that, but I wasn't thinking about it at 14.
Exactly. That's the thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's this young man, and he has a son, and I think it's called the King Literacy. I'll find it for who's interested. And he taught his son like all the terms that he understands what they mean. He understands how to apply it, and his son is only 8, and that's amazing to me. And he's like, "This is the reason why I did it is because I want my son to do better than I did," and that's the way it comes from. That's the most important thing you want as a parent, that your child does better than you. And I think it's important for us as well to understand literacy in general. It's very important because it affects our household in general. Wow.
Why not have them part of financial issues? Come on, man. I gotta pay the rent today. Gotta pay the light bill or something today. You're gonna watch me do it. And understand, hey, you use these lights too. So hey, part of this is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's where saying, "I pay the bills in this house, you better sit down and be quiet," and that's it. They don't understand. It's like, okay, if you give them the responsibility or give them like a task, like, okay, this is what it stems from. Understand, like, it's coming out of your pocket. And if you give them like for example, if you give them like a chore and say, okay, if you do this, you gain $5, but
that's a lot.
you're gonna get $2 out of that because you want to retain candy or chocolate. They're like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want my whole $5. So then they start understanding, okay, well, if I want to save up my money, and you have to just kind of delegate what I want to save it on.
I got a real world example for you. Miss K. Look.
Mm-hmm.
So during the pandemic, when we finally got to where we knew how we could travel a little bit, we went to visit home down in Tampa to my mom's, and my kids took my kids with me. We were there for 2 or 3 days, and my 2 oldest kids say to me, again, 16 and 14, they say, "Hey, Dad, we can just stay here, and then we'll come home." So I was like, "Well, how are y'all? What do you mean? How you gonna get home? You expect me to drive back down here and get you? Like, how does that work?" Now my kids and my wife and I have finally we had to come to the conclusion. Our kids they're privileged. They're privileged, So my 2 oldest kids say, "Well, we'll just fly back."
Oh, you froze a little bit.
I was like, "Excuse me? You'll just fly back? What?" What does that mean? How do you fly back? So am I paying for you to fly? So you mean to tell me you guys are gonna pay for you to fly back? So look, they said, yeah, they went and found their own tickets. They got their own money, bought their own flights, got them all to me and Mom to show us that they got it all together. And they stayed for a little extra time and flew back. But that's something that me at 16, 14, I wouldn't have known to do nothing like that.
No.
All right. So we're gonna be wrapping up because it's an hour. It's been an hour. I can't believe it. And I've had these amazing men on my panel, and thank you for being here. But I have my last question before we leave. And the last question is, Miss K have to pull out something. What is a message you would love to leave the audience with? Each one of you got to answer, so don't think it's just one of y'all.
We've already kind of touched on what I was gonna say. About we're expected to go to school, we're expected to graduate, get a career, and pay bills. What I would like to leave people with, whether it's male or female that you're raising, just give your kids, free will. Don't squeeze the life out of them. Allow them to live their life to the fullest and just support their dreams. That way, essentially they'll end up doing what they would like to do. Kind of like Mr. Mitchell said, he's been teaching his kids right, and they got themselves home. I'm pretty sure 6 out of 10 kids right now couldn't even tell you how to cook some noodles. So that's all I'm gonna leave them with.
All right, Mr. Hawkins, you want to go?
Leave the audience with I don't know. I tell you this one principal, assistant principal, always used to tell us, love each other. And it got on my nerves every single day. Cause she'll do in this baby voice, love each other. And that really bothered me. But that is very true. Do love each other. I'm gonna leave with that. Love each other.
That we talked about a lot. But I guess
we did.
I guess something that we haven't, or that I would like to leave the audience with is never stop learning. Never stop learning. Everything we do in life is through something that we learned. We learned it through an experience. We learned it formally. We learned it through mentorship. We learned it in some kind of way. But it's cliche and people say this, but it's real. When we stop learning, we stop growing.
Mm-hmm.
And if we stop growing, we stop living. So we should never shut ourselves down from learning. We should never shut ourselves away from learning. We should always be in a posture where we can learn and grow, because that growth takes us to the next level. So we should always be trying to learn. And if you read the scriptures close enough, and I as a minister, as a pastor, I have to do this. If you read the scriptures close enough, you'll see even Jesus learned. He continued to learn. So, and I think we see it in Luke, where it says that Jesus increased in wisdom and stature. And him increasing in wisdom and stature increased him in favor with God and man, it says. And then there's another place, I believe, in Hebrews, where it says, although he was a son, he learned obedience through his suffering. So learning, even Jesus continued to learn. And we as men, as women, we as human beings on this earth should never stop learning.
I agree. All right, I have one last thing that I want to share with the audience, if I can get it to stop doing what it's doing. And it is a little video that I saw, and I was like, I need young men to see this. And so I'm going to share the screen, and it's only two minutes for young to understand that it's important to just know you don't have to just be one thing or another. So give me one moment. Let me just try to share the screen, if I could get it to share itself. Technology, I tell you. Add to the stream. It's taking a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Why is it doing that? Oh, there we go. All right.
Talk about what's that? You worked hard and you have fun. That's real start you got there. Thanks. Take care of those answers.
Can you guys see it? I'm not sure. Hold on 1 second, guys.
I actually saw this commercial the other day, and I sat and I watched the entire commercial all the way through, because I was like, what are they going to talk about in this commercial? And it was amazing. It was really
I think it's important to talk about, so I just wanted to see if I could go for it.
But that was a really good commercial.
Sorry, guys. It's not me, I promise.
You don't want to be a football player, you can be anybody, and I like it. It's not just about the sports; it's about everything else in the mind. And that's why I like it.
Okay, it's showing.
The two things we always talk about was that you worked hard and you have fun. Have fun. It's real starting there. Thanks. Take care of those hands.
I got hands. I'm gonna go pro.
You definitely could.
But
Easy money. Have you ever thought about what else you could be? Go alongside. You could be a brain surgeon. Your hands could operate as skillfully as Dr. Myra Rowe. Or sports agent, handling big contracts, like Rich Paul. What about an artist? You could be as creative as Brian Rubin Brink. The art you make could inspire the world. Son, you could even be an astronaut, flying in space with Leland D. Melvin. Sure, with those hands, you could play for a team, but you could buy a team. Ownership is to wear the rings first.
what, Dad?
You can be anything you want. With these hands.
All right. I hope you guys in. I really want to show it. I think it's very important to. Oh, well, see, I think it's a really good. It's titled
great.
"These Hands," and I am not advertising for this commercial. I just wanted to show the community this is what young men should see and strive for. Okay, guys, it's important for them to understand that they can be anything that they want to be. Don't just select it to just one thing. So, thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I enjoyed our commercial and our panel discussion. Have a great Saturday evening. Thanks for taking time out to listen to us. And stay tuned for the next panel discussion from Ms. K. Bye, guys. Stay on, my gentlemen.